Hello, hello, we are live. If you can hear me, type loud and clear. Hello, hello, we are right. I can hear myself, so it's working fine. Live. Hello, everyone. My name is Eunice. This is Eunice Tan. I'm an entrepreneur and speaker, and we are coming live from Singapore. Right. So, how is everybody today? It's a Monday afternoon, right? And some of you are knocking off. Are you still working from home, or are you working from office? So, do drop by and say hi, and let us know where you're hearing from. If you're listening to this from overseas and outside Singapore, let us know which country and what's the time zone over there, and what are you doing, and what plans have you got this evening. Just let us know whatever that is that you are comfortable to let us share with us, right? So my name is Eunice Tan. I'm an entrepreneur and speaker. So I've run my own business consultancy for the last 10 years. And along the way, I'm also the founder of Daily People Skills, which I launched this year because along the way, I realized that a lot of people, they have what they lack of is not the competence skills, but rather it's actually the people skills. So I accumulated, my great aim is to actually share my experience, and hopefully you can learn something and you can shortcut your learning, and you don't have to hit so many walls along your journey, especially at workplace, or if you are starting your own business. You can shortcut your learning journey, and your learning curve is not that steep. Now, a lot of people, when they talk about daily people, and when they come across people skills, they always think of it as like EQ and leadership skills, communication skills, and all these are good, and all these are included as well. But people skills, in my definition, it goes much, much beyond that. At the end of the day, it's about who you really, really are. And because before you can manage others, you must first manage yourself. So I share in terms of Facebook Live, in terms of every people skills hack, so you can learn something in bite size. Right. I like to start my session on time. So let's start on time. Let's see. Right. Okay, right. So today I'm going to share with you the 5 steps to start motivating yourself. Right. If you have been following us, right, you will see that I've done 2 other sessions on one on your 9 motivating factors, where we touch on 9 different motivating factors. You need to look at it, and we all have 1 or 2 dominant ones, and you can see where you're coming from, which ones are yours, and sometimes we do toggle from one to the other. And we also have covered another video on from procrastinator to action taker. Right, they are all different kind of gems, and you can call this the 3rd installment of kicking your butt to do something, right? So we all been there, done that. There are some things that we want to do for the longest time, but we keep delaying, and we should be doing that, right? Okay, so this is perhaps the last installment on how you can just kick your own butt and start getting into action. Right. So I want to share about this in terms of the put it into very simple. Today's session is more on the how to. So I put it into a 5 steps to motivating yourself. And as you can guess by now, it's found in the acronym of START, S-T-A-R-T. So let's jump right in, right? And for a start, S, right? So for S, right, it actually, you have to first and foremost decide how serious are you in terms of taking that action or doing that thing. So I will use starting my business or running my marathon as an example most of the time for this session, because it's easier to just illustrate using the same example. But the thing is that think of the one thing, right, you have been wanting to do, but you have not been yet starting to do it, right? The thing is that how serious are you with this matter? I'm not talking about being serious in the sense that very stern, you can't have fun, that kind of thing. It's very disciplinary. No, I'm not talking about that kind of serious. But rather, I'm talking about your commitment and how important is this thing to you. how much weight, the weightiness of this matter to you, how much weight are you putting on to take this action, to launch your business, to in my case is to run my marathon as well. And maybe some of you want to lose weight. We have been in a circuit breaker in Singapore, we call it, or some of you are locked down and you have been working from home. You seem to be eating more than usual, and you have gained some weight, and you've been wanting to lose weight for the longest time, even before this COVID, right? So, but the thing is that how serious are you in doing those things, right? If you are not serious about it and you just talk only, right, then you will not really take action. Now, this is a very, very important, crucial first step, right? Because if you are not going to be serious about this, the rest of the steps will not be applicable. Imagine, right? If you are not going to be serious about it, the rest of it, seriously, seriously, there's no point in talking about the rest of the other four letters, right? So very often, sometimes we know what to do. Actually, we even know how to do it. And even if we don't know, you can just Google about it. But the thing is that we are not serious. Are you doing it just because everybody else is doing it, right? It's nice to do it too. But if you're not serious about it, you will not do it. I know many people want to lose weight, right? But the thing is that but they're foodie. They love food. How are they going to lose weight? And if they lose it, it's only because of others. You are not going to go very far with that. So let me give you some example, right? So for example, when I start my business, I was very serious about it, and I've helped people to start their business, set up their companies, start their business. And the thing is that some of them started off with very enthusiastically, and they have good intention, but they are really not serious about it. And even the business, they're only choosing their product is because it's in the trend, right? For example, right, the mask is in the trend now, so they start selling masks. And when the trend is gone, they won't do anything about it. Or sometimes the mentality is that, oh, if I have time, then I'll do it. That is not very serious in that sense, right? So if you want to run a marathon like I do, and you need to start, really how important it is to you. It was very important to me because it was on my bucket list. Now, I'm not a professional runner, but it was important for me because it was something that I've always wanted to do. So it's important for me to take the next step, which we'll cover later on, to see what are the things I can do in order to achieve it. Right? Some of you want to learn a skill, like a language skill, and or a musical instrument, but you never get around doing it. Why? Yeah, are you serious about it, right? Right. So for example, another few examples that I can think of on my own is that I did a skydive when I was in Australia, and it has also it may not be something very serious in that sense that it's not making money, that kind of thing, but it's something on my it's on my bucket list, and I really really want to do it. So when I was in Australia with a few friends, we were first thing first, go and find a company. It's a company that do skydive, and then we have feel that we want to back out, and then we just say like, let's do it, right? And we are serious enough, right? It doesn't mean that we have no laughter, we have no fun along the way. I'll cover that later on, right? It was so enjoyable doing that for when we did the skydive. Right, and also some of you will know I shave ball to raise funds for to take part in a charity drive called Have a Hope, where the participants shave ball to raise funds for the Children Cancer Foundation. And many people ask me, how do you do it, right? And because I was serious about it, in the sense that I was very committed to do it. I wanted to make this in the sense that it's something I can talk about next time. It's something I can share, and I want to inspire people. You don't have to do things like that, the same thing like I did, but you should be able. It should inspire you enough to do whatever it is that you want to do, and go ahead and just do it. Right, and if you think about it, on the flip side of the coin, it's not, I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm an all saint, I always have it all together. Not necessary. Right, let me give you some negative example of how serious when I'm not serious about something, right? So for example, for the longest time I've been wanting to learn guitar, I'm not exactly the most musically inclined person, and I took up when I was younger, and recently I took it up again, and I just couldn't just somehow pick it up. But seriously, when I think about it, despite not being musically inclined, I can always make it up by being working harder, spending more time practicing. And in Chinese, there's a saying called 勤能补拙. That means, working hard can make up for your lack of talent to a certain extent, at least one song, right? But I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't, and I just immediately forgotten whatever I learned half an hour ago. I could have just forgotten the moment I walk out of the class. Now, why do I want to take up guitar in the first place? It's because I so envy people, I so admire and respect people who can play guitar. They are so whenever they play, it's just so how should I put it? It's so amazing, and everybody just indulge in their music, and it's just so amazing, amazing. So that was my motivation in that sense. It's not really the best motivation kind reason to do it. So I never really get around it. To me, it's if I really be honest, it's really nice to have a skill, but not necessarily a must-have skills in that sense. Right? I give you another example. Drawing. Again, can you tell I'm not very artistically inclined, right? So I admire people who can draw, and it's just so amazing. My drawing is like flat, it's 2D, right? And and I just admire people who can draw, and I've seen people posting in Facebook to showing their drawing, and they have never drawn before, and their pictures are so amazing, and it's just wow. I so envy them, right? I never really get around doing it because again, I'm not really that serious about it. Now, let me give you one more example in terms of technology. Right, this is really important because with this COVID thing, a lot of times we have to work out on from home, and we have to go online. And I'm not really the technologically inclined person, and I've been told, I need to learn some basic editing, like using very simple tools like iMovie. Right, iMovie is one of the simplest I've been told, and I've never get around learning how to do it. I just find it so difficult. It's so complex. I know it's not to most of you, right? But to me, it is. But there was one day, and someone was telling me, you have to learn that. It's really easy. It's not that difficult. And just set a timing, and you can learn it, right? And for this person, he is not exactly very technical savvy as well. And if he say it's easy, then I think it's easy, right? I could stand. There is a chance that I can pick it up. So I forced myself one weekend, right, just to sit down and really explore this time round, learning all the things, whether it's a YouTube tutorial or ask people or whatsoever. And you know what? Actually, it's not really that difficult. So I kind of get around it and learn how to do it. So this is really an example of how serious are you when it comes to the thing that you have always wanted to do but never get around it. So first and foremost, you really got to ask yourself, is how serious are you? Is it really important for you to do that thing, or is it just talk only? Right, let's move on to the next one. Okay. T, right. Very, very important. Right. This T stands for targets. Absolutely, right? You need to, if you want to take action, you really need to set your own targets. And targets, where I'm talking about are actually two kinds of targets. One is the end target, end goal, your end goal, right? Your final goal that you really, really want to achieve. And the other goal you need to set is your next immediate goal. Right, what do I mean by your end goal and your next immediate goal? Now, talking about targets and goals, I think most people are quite familiar with it. And let me use my example of a marathon as an example again. Right, my end goal was actually to complete a marathon. Right, And my next and with that, right, I set my next immediate goal. I have to decide what is my next immediate goal. I'm not going to run a marathon, sign up for a marathon that is going to take place next week, because at that point in time I wasn't really an athlete. I'm not exactly have a regular exercise regime and all. So what is the next one goal I want to achieve? What is the next one goal? What is the next one goal that I think I should really want to achieve in that sense, and to see what's going on, to how to achieve my end goal. And what I did was that I've decided to, and as I researched, I realized that, hey, maybe I should do a 10 kilometer and a half marathon, right? And I also need to come up with my training regime. So this is my next immediate goal, was to sign up for a 10 kilometer and a training regime as well. Okay, right, just checking some of the technical issue, right? So as I mentioned, right, next immediate goal is just sign up for a 10 kilometer and come up with a training regime. You can't really just go and run a marathon. A full marathon is 42 kilometer, right? Okay, and so which actually linked to my next point, which is my A, right, is treat it like an assignment. Now, assignment, it will be like a project, and it will have a start end date, it will have an outcome, and we have our 5 Ws, and or what people call the 5 wives and husband, right? And also one thing I want to focus on is actually focus on progression, not perfection. Now, let me go a little bit in detail in terms of what do I mean by treat like an assignment. Now, you need to have a start date and an end date. So during my research, I have to come up with, marathon is not I decide when to run. It has to be go with the organizer, right? So I research. I reckon that I need about 9 months, okay? 9 months to about a year training. So along the way, I start researching what are the marathons that I want to go, and what are the when's the date and all, right? And along the way, I realized that there's one of the marathon is called Sundown Marathon, and Sundown Marathon actually starts at night. They start running, say, about 8 p.m. And it was quite interesting because that was the first time I came across something like that. I always thought marathon is, during daytime, right? And I was looking at it and I decided that it's not really for me, because Sundown Marathon is start at night, and I am directionally challenged. I might run to the wrong route and realize that at the end of the day, I actually run at the wrong place. And also I have a bit of night blindness. It's not exactly for me, and I like to have my beauty sleep. And you know what? It's just no go for me for the Sundown Marathon, right? And so I continue with the research on the daytime, and I realized that there's a S.T.A.R.T marathon, which is just nice. And by the way, there's no endorsement or whatsoever in this case, right? Okay, in all my sessions. So I signed up for the S.T.A.R.T marathon, and I realized I have 9 months to train, and I set my outcome as I want to complete my marathon, right, and not to compete. Now, right, marathon, usually the first round, those who are running professionally, usually the Kenyan people, they actually, what, they don't run, they fly. Okay, they finish marathon in less than 2.5 hours. And for me, my outcome that I wanted to that I have set for myself is actually to complete the marathon, right? So because I had an accident, I couldn't really run. I have to walk and finish the whole 42 kilometers by just really, really walking, right? So with that outcome, to complete, not to compete, it actually sets the motion for my training regime as well. So when we go to the 5 Ws and 1H, which actually the actionables, which are the actions, that what are the things to do, where do we go from here? So the 5 Ws will be like the who, the why, the what, the where, and the when, and the H is the how, right? For those who are familiar, and for those who are not familiar, these are the 5 Ws and the H, right? So what I did was that with that in mind, I start to set my training regime to start going to the gym. First start off with 1 day a week, and then 2 days a week, and then 3 days a week. and on the gym, on which machine do I want to go to, which helps me to train a little bit more, and what else do I want to do, and all that. So it starts to trigger from there. The moment I put the set date, and I put the outcome, and I have all my regimes start coming in, right? And before that, right, even before that, 1 year before that, I need to take you a little bit backwards, backtrack a little bit, and I realized during my research, there is actually, there are shorter races, shorter than a full marathon. Now, a full marathon is 42 kilometers. And during my research, I also found out that there's 10 kilometers and there's half kilometer. And I decided that, well, you know what? I will sign up for the 10 kilometers first. And it's a Great Eastern Women's Run. It's 10 kilometers. Total 10 kilometers is totally, quite. I've never done it before, but I think it's achievable for me because from my place to the train station is about 1 kilometer. So back and forth is like 2, like 10 kilometers, like you do it 5 times, right? So it's not that difficult. And it's outdoor. I love outdoor, right? And so I signed up for that to see how to gauge my physics and my how's my physically, how am I going to cope with it. So I did that, and I did that in a decent hours of 1 hour 16 minutes, right? And then I signed up for the half marathon, which takes place in the same year, but as the 10 kilometer and half kilometer is about 8 months apart, right? So obviously, when I signed up for the half marathon, which is 21 kilometers, I step up my exercise regime, and this time around, I go to the gym more regular basis. I run longer. I exercise longer. I use the resistance. I increase the resistance level and everything. So as time goes by, right, then by the time when I come to the date of the half marathon, I could finish it within 3 hours. I think it was 3.5 hours, which was also a decent result, right? Considering that I walk all the way, it's really brisk walking in that sense. Now, and then from there, then I sign up for the full marathon. So as you can see, right, if you combine this with the previous slide, which talk about the target, my end goal has never changed. My end goal has always been completing a marathon. But my next immediate goal, I actually changed along the way because I realized during my research, there can be certain things that can be changed. So I didn't have the 10 kilometer or half marathon in mind, but when I researched, I found that out. So I start to sign that up first. Now you can do the same as well. So whatever it is that you are doing, so you need to have an end goal in the sense that, for example, if you have your end goal is to start a business, what is the next immediate goal? Right, very simple. Think of your company name, right? A lot of people come to me, and then during the business consultation, they ask me this, they ask all sorts of questions, and then finally I ask them, do you have a name for your company? And they were like, oh yeah, I haven't thought about the name. It is so important. The name is so important, right? Because it sets the tone and everything, right? So that's one thing. So if you want to lose weight, for example, what is the end goal that you want? So for example, the end goal is to lose 10 kilograms. Now you're not going to lose 10 kilograms overnight. Now, but you can set a date. So in this case, right, treat it like an assignment, like a project, right? So you can treat it as a project, and you have a start date and you have an end date, right? The end date maybe today is August. You want to do something that is 10 kg, and you have done your research to lose 10 kilograms in the rest by year end is possible, right? In 4 months, you have about 3 to 4 months. So you put your end date as 31st December 2020. Now the outcome is 10 kilograms. Now then you start to set up your who, your why, your what, your where, and your when. Do you want to exercise? Do you want to go to the gym? Do you want to or you want to walk outdoor? For me, sometimes I don't like to go to the gym because I think it's a bit boring to run on the treadmill, or I use the ski machine, and but I do go to the gym for the classes and to carry weights. That's something I can't do when I'm walking outside. But if it's for the purpose of training for my marathon or lose weight, I prefer to walk outdoor. I prefer to go outside. And nowadays we have all these apps to measure your distance, right? It's not difficult to measure how far you could go, and please don't depend on your feelings, right? Okay, be very objective about it. You need something to measure, right? Use an app. There's so many free apps in the market. In your phone, you just need to you will find one that is suitable for you, and you just start walking. And you can, if just start from something very simple. Remember, I talk about focus on progression, not perfection. Now today, if you have not started walking, for example, losing weight is your goal, or you just want to just start exercising. Now don't necessarily go for the 10 kilometers straight away, right? You can go just walk one block, like go around your neighborhood, go 1 kilometer. If you have not done any exercise for a long time, it is a progress already. Then to rest for 2 3 days, and then go on, and this time go for 1.5 or 2 kilometers if you can. And then slowly, as you progress, right, you'll find it easier and easier, and you gain the momentum. You'll find that your progression is actually getting more faster and faster. Is what we call the exponential growth, right? And you will find that before you know it is you would have achieved your end goal before you even know it. The important thing is, don't just focus, oh, I want to, my end goal, I focus on end goal. That's the problem, because sometimes your end goal can be very daunting, can be overwhelming. So, and when it's too daunting, too overwhelming, and it seems so hard to achieve, right? Most people will not take action. It's like, because I can't picture how I can do it. Sometimes we just give up. We had gave up even before we started, right? This skill, right? This technique, if you can learn it, is really, really important. It really has to help me to start off many projects, many events that have helped me in terms of connection with people, in terms of growing my business as well, in terms of connecting with people, definitely, right? So I started this networking event called Dining with Success, where we invite very successful people to have dinner with very close group of people, like 10 to 15 of us. And the speaker just share from the bottom of their heart, what their doubt, that what makes them successful, what are their pitfalls, what are their failures, their mistakes. It was a very intimate dinner, right? We also have another dinner club, 100K Diners Club, where we have entrepreneurs who make 100K and they come together. Again, it's a very small group. There's only 10 of them. And this one is not a particular speaker, but this one is really the same level kind of entrepreneurs coming together, networking together. And of course, I use this method to launch the Daily People Skills YouTube and Facebook page. It's technology, like I mentioned again and again. If you have been following me for a while, technology is really not my forte. And I have to force myself, right? I need to launch this by when. I need to do this by when. I have to force myself to do it, right? In Chinese, we call it 硬着头皮. That means you just force yourself and just, in Nike's words, just do it. Right, and there's many things that you can do once you get the hang of this technique. Now, what makes me discover this, or what makes me to really find that this is very good for me, is that I discovered this law called Parkinson's law. Now, it's different from Parkinson's disease, right? Parkinson's law means it is defined as work expense so as to fill the time available for its completion. What does it mean, right? Basically, in layman's term, right, if you have 8 hours to complete an assignment, you will take 8 hours to finish it. If you have only 4 hours to complete the same task, the same assignment, guess what? You will also use 4 hours to complete it. Why can't you complete in the 4 hours in the first place, right? If you are given, so why do you take 8 hours to complete it in the first place? And, if you don't believe me, imagine, right, you have a plane to catch. I know we can't travel much these days, and it's only recently the borders start to open up again. But imagine you have a plane to catch in 6 hours, and you have 3 reports to complete, to hand in to your boss or whatever it is, right? Do you think you will do it? Absolutely, because if imagine if you cannot, you don't do it, you get sacked, right? You get, your job is not is going to be you're going to be retrenched from your job, right? You will within that 6 hours do up that 3 reports, and it's not necessarily a sloppy report either, because you will actually sometimes when you have a shorter time, you'll find that you do a better job, because you will find that you will put all the essence, all the important points there, and nothing frivolous, nothing too flowery, and straight to the point. Uh, so it's like what my friends, some of my friends, right, just to sidetrack a bit, they lose. Have you ever lose your slides, your presentation slides, just 2 hours before you are supposed to present? It happened to me before, and you know what? I have to redo all my slides. I know my friends who have gone through the same experience. They only have half an hour to do it, and or maybe even less, like 15 minutes, and they did it again. And you know what? Version 2 is actually better than version 1, and somehow version 1 they took 3 days to do it, and version 2 only took 15 minutes to do it. Why? Because when we have a short, when we just have this habit, if we have an allocated time, right, we will just somehow just use up the whole time. Just it just happened, right? You just think back and you will know what I mean. So what we did is that, so some of my friends know about this, so they are quite they really adapt to it. So they adapt to it to their own style. So what they do is that they sometimes they take the train or the bus, and they go from one end of the country, of the island, and take all the way to the other side of the island, right? Not, it doesn't matter what bus it is or what train it is. They all they do is that they take from one end to the other and work on the things that have been they have been procrastinating, putting off. Because once you're on the bus or the train, right, what else can you do? There's really nothing much you can do. So they force themselves into that. And because the train ride or the bus ride is only about an hour, they tell themselves they have to finish it within an hour. Or maybe they give themselves 2 hours, because back and forth, right? You have to come back, right? So that's one way to do it, because within that 2 hours of bus ride or train ride, they actually finish something that they have been putting off for like 2 weeks or even 2 months, right? For me, what I did, I adapt from this, right? From this principle of Parkinson's law, I use laptop battery duration. Right, so I tell myself I will bring this laptop to go somewhere, and then I will go to restock my charger. And I know with a full battery, my laptop can last about maybe 2 to 3 hours. And I would tell myself I have to use this duration to finish the thing that I've always wanted to do, but I never get around it. So one of the things, as business owners, or for those who are business owner out there or thinking of starting your own business, working on your business plan is very important. But very often, business owners are always caught up with working on the operations part, and it's so hard, it's fighting fires. They never really have time to do business planning. Or even if you're not a business owner, what about your own planning, your own financial planning, things that we have been putting off, or we should be doing it, right? So what you can do is that bring along your battery, have it fully charged, but don't bring the charger, and find a space, and then a place, whether it's a train ride or you can go to a cafe, and you tell yourself you have to finish this thing before the battery runs flat, right? So I use this method again and again to complete many of the things that I just put off, or I just don't have the guts to do it, or I'm too lazy, or it's something that is too boring for me to do. So that is something that I use to kind of force myself. Sometimes we need to kick ourselves in the butt, okay? So to do the things that we should be doing, but we have yet just somehow don't find it, don't get around doing it, right? So that's A for you, and which actually brings me to the next point, which is R, which is rewards. Yay! Everything must have rewards, okay? The thing is that you don't do it usually is because it's boring or it's overwhelming, you maybe because you don't see the point of doing something, and you just find out it's so meaningless to do this, what's the point and all. So you need to make it fun and make it enjoyable. Remember in the beginning when I asked you how serious, I'm not talking about how serious, stern or disciplinary, but I already mentioned that you need to make it fun and enjoyable. When something that is fun and enjoyable, you will more likely to take action on it. You will more likely to work towards your plan, right? And you also celebrate your wins. What do I mean, right? Now, you can make it enjoyable, you can make it fun by, so some of you you like music. I think music always is quite, it really perks up a person's emotion. So it helps you to pump up, to take actions, or, whatever it is that helps you to get into the mood of doing it, right? Now, when I first start my exercise regime, which actually is quite funny, I reward myself with food and ice cream, right? I know it sounds so contradictory, right? Well, you want to go to the gym, you want to lose weight, you want to exercise, yet I reward myself with food and ice cream. So get me out. So what happened is that, when I was starting to go to the gym, it's such a hassle. You have to bring your clothes and your washing. You need to wash up later on. So many things, right? So just kind of put off and put off. But you see, when I sign up for the gym, there was an eatery nearby, and there's one particular dish that is so nice that I love it. It's one of my favorite food. Okay, in Singapore, it's called laksa. Okay, it's a kind of with coconut oil, coconut, and just a lot of calories. A lot of calories. It's something that if you're on a diet, you never put it. It just doesn't go with dieting or exercise or getting healthy, right? But you see, I needed to push myself to go to the gym. So I needed something, a reward, and to push me to go to the gym. So I tell myself, if I go to the gym and I set my outcome, right? So for that particular day, I tell myself, if I go to the gym, I just need to go to the gym, and I just need to complete maybe about 4 kilometers on the treadmill, on the ski machine. I will reward myself with this food and a scoop of ice cream, right? And yes, I'm not. It's true. The reward actually motivated me, right? Because I went to exercise not because of the whatever it is, because I want to lose weight, but because of the reward. And of course, a lot of people, it was like, why do you think you just like, it's such a waste of effort. But hear me out first, yeah. So the thing is that it's all psychology. So the next time, so you are actually telling your body and your mind that, hey, this exercising is actually quite good. So your body is not so resistant towards going to the gym next time. So 3 days later is my next session. So, I'm quite happy to go this time around. Again, I use food and ice cream as my reward. And you know what? This time around, I'm quite happy to go. It is not that difficult to go to the gym. And in fact, I actually increased. The last session was 4 kilometers, and this time around, I could complete 6 kilometers. And now, this time around, I also reward myself with food and ice cream. The same dish, the same ice cream, right? But you know what? This time around, somehow the food doesn't taste as good anymore. In fact, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I think the satisfaction level is only 5 out of 10. And in fact, that day I didn't even eat ice cream, but I was quite happy to go to the gym. The gym itself, right? We will release this endorphin and all that. I actually was quite happy from the exercise regime already. So the food was actually just something that is additional, but it wasn't the main one anymore. And you guess it, by the third session, I was happy to go to the gym. Again, I'm very happy to go to the gym. And now my mind is associating exercise with something good, right? It's not a chore anymore. It's very enjoyable, right? And I went there, and I think I managed to do even more than my last 2 sessions. And this time around, after the exercise, I didn't go for the dish, or didn't go for ice cream. In fact, I go for like just a salad kind of thing. Because you know what? I don't need the reward anymore. You'll be surprised, like sometimes the reward, although it seems contradictory to what you are trying to achieve, but in fact it is, because at this point of time, the reward is more motivating than the exercise itself. So you need to see how you can turn it around to help you, to push you and get through the door and start taking that very first action that you need to do. Which brings me to the next point, right? Which is our last T. And our last T is temptations, right? let's face it, right? There will always be there. Temptation will always be there. You might as well deal it heads on. And different people have different kind of temptations. So all you have to do is just to be aware of your own, right? Everybody has different temptations. Some of you have the temptations that is on the social media, some is Netflix, some is your sleep, some is food, right? So you need to be aware of what is your temptations. And for me, in my case, when we talk about exercise, my solutions was actually to have cheat days, right? So initially, I have out of 7 days, I have 6 cheat days, right? I only have one healthy day and 6 cheat days. And slowly, every week, I just add on, or I should say, I minus one cheat day and increase on my healthy day. So as time goes by, right, and now my routine is actually every week. Most of my friends know this. I have 2 cheat days in a week, right? Which is Sunday, and somewhere in the middle of the week is at the moment is Thursday. It used to be the weekend, but I find that if 2 days in a row is too much for me, but and 5 days of healthy days are too boring for me, right? So I swap the Saturday for Thursday. So this is what I mean, that sometimes your end goal don't change, but your immediate goal can change. So you can adjust accordingly. So during the 2 week cheat days, right, I can eat whatever I want. But during the 5 healthy days, I will just watch what I need to eat and everything. And as time goes by, the cheat days don't even mean anything to me. I don't even cheat on my cheat days anymore, right? So you need to, so that's one thing. So don't deprive yourself. You need to remember, I talk about celebrating wins. You do need to, and you will find that a lot of the dietitian and even personal trainer, they will tell you it is okay to have one ice cream, all this junk food and rubbish food once in a while. The question is, when is once in a while? Some people's once in a while is every day, right? But if we can put it on an objective, measurable timeline. So, for example, 2 days a week for me, right? It will be then it's measurable. It's not like once in a while. It's so subjective. It's like, did I eat yesterday? No, I think I have not eaten my junk food for a long time, but mentally, I think I have not eaten for a long time, but actually, I just had it maybe 2 days ago. So so when I have designated cheat days, other days I don't have to think about it, right? So you make it more, kind of automated in that sense. And what I did, another trick was actually also to turn my temptations into my rewards. That's why I said this temptation is actually linked to my rewards. So for example, right, and it's also linked to Parkinson's law, right? So some of us, we are our temptation is Netflix. We need to watch the movies. We need to chase the dramas and all, right? So what you can do is that and you together with Parkinson's law, what you can do is that you tell yourself, if you finish this thing that you're supposed to do, whatever it is, right? Once you finish it, you can watch that drama, right? So instead of being temptations that distract you from not from doing what you are supposed to do, what you do is that you turn the temptations into a reward. So because with that reward, you are motivated to do whatever that is you are supposed to do, whatever that is that you have been putting off. And with that, right, it's a win-win situation because you get both the things done at the same time, you get your rewards as well, right? So, and because with Parkinson's law, right? Remember, I was saying, I was explaining to you, if let's say if you have if you know that you can watch Netflix movie after this, right? And you immediately, I can almost assure you, instead of you spending 8 hours to work on that thing, you will just spend 4 hours maybe, right? To work on that, whatever it is that you need to do. And because with that, if you can finish in 4 hours, you can watch the movie, right? So that is a motivation. And within 6 hours, you have done your whatever the report that you have been procrastinating, and you can watch on Netflix. So it's even more efficient than spending 8 hours like just looking at staring at the screen, not knowing what to do, and 8 hours later you might just still not do anything. It's still a blank paper. Nothing has been done. No achievement. No nothing. So instead of resisting temptation, you can go with the temptation and turn it around into a weapon that is suitable for you, that is advantageous to you. Get it? Right? So that's the START system, where you ask yourself how serious you are, set yourself a target, make it an assignment, and remember to reward yourself when you start doing something. Once you take do the immediate goal, achieve the immediate goal, then you can reward yourself and turn your temptation into reward. So don't need to resist the temptations, right? It doesn't work. It absolutely doesn't work. Trust me, right? So I want to leave you with a little bit of one bonus point, just one bonus point, right? At the end of the day, right? The reason why we do something or why we don't do something is either way. Some of you might be saying, "Hey, you know what? To do something is really painful, and it's just too much pain to do that, to walk into that gym, to even go, to go on diet or whatsoever, or start that business, or get in touch, start connecting with people." Right? Can I just be honest with you that when there is a pain when you do something. There is. When I was doing my marathon, there is I have it's a full 42 kilometer. I remember at the last 7 kilometer mark, I can feel, my feet was really painful, and then I thought it's a pebble, but then I realized actually my toe has got blister in it already, right? It was really very painful for me to carry on, but I have 7 kilometers to go, right? So what am I going to do, right? There's a pain in doing, continuing, and there's a pain of not doing. So in my example, right, if I don't continue, right, well, the thing is that you have to know, when I was doing the marathon, I have been posting pictures of me doing the marathon at 1/4 mark, at half-kilometer, half marathon mark, that is the 21 kilometer mark, and 3/4, right, I've been posting, right. And the thing is that the pain of doing is the blister. The pain of not doing, I've told the whole world that I'm doing this marathon. And if I'm not going to complete it, guess what? The pain of not doing it is embarrassment, right? I have to, it's so embarrassing when I tell the whole world I'm doing, but yet I didn't complete it. And I really want, a pain of not doing is actually, I don't have a story to tell anymore. But I really want it to be an inspiring story, an inspiration to people to know that you can do it. If I can do it, so can you. And lastly is the pain of not doing, the biggest pain of not continuing in my case was that it's the last 7 kilometer, meaning that if I don't continue, the last 35 kilometers that I've completed has gone to waste. Right, absolutely waste. I have to start all over again. Right, I want to complete a marathon. That's on my bucket list, but I'm not going to do. I didn't want to do it a second time. Right, so I would just force myself one step at a time, one left foot forward, right foot forward, and then when I saw the finishing line, I was so happy. I can even make the 100-meter dash despite the blister. Right. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that there is a pain of doing, and there is a pain of not doing. Now, whether you do or not do, there is a pain. So the thing is that who will win? It's the lesser pain that will win. Now, because the pain of doing is lesser than not doing, you will go and do it. But when the pain of not doing is lesser, right? It's less painful to do something, you will not do it. Okay, let that sink in for a while. Just remember, whichever is lesser will win, right? So you need to make it such a way that the pain of doing is lesser. The lesser the pain of doing, the more likely you will do it, take action and do it, right? Okay, I hope you have learned something today, and stay connected with us. Right? If you have learned something today, type in the comment box what have you learned, or if you have a question about people skills that is always recurring in your workplace, in your life, you can post it in the comment box as well. Or if you're shy, you can PM me, and then I can do something. I can do a video on it, and we can all learn together. And stay connected on our daily people skills, whether on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. Now, a lot of people think that the last thing I want to share with you before I go off is something about people skills. That a lot of people think of people skills as a soft skills, as a nice to have learn. It's always not the priority skills. But I want to share with you one of the mission I'm embarking on is that people skills is the number one skills that everyone must learn more more important than ever, right? So many people are very worried about being taken over by technology or artificial intelligence, and we see a lot of jobs being lost at the moment, right? So being taken over by technology, right? But the thing is that people skills is the one skill that will never be overtaken, that will can never be replaced by technology or AI. Because at the end of the day, we are all humans. We are all social animals. We are created to connect with each other. In fact, this lockdown, this COVID has shown more prevalent than ever that how much connection we want to have with each other. The time where we cannot sit down and have a dinner and have a nice dinner and gathering with our friends and family, we were also miserable. Even the most introvert of us, we still crave for some human companion. So you need that people skills, whether you are employee or employer, and no matter what industry you are in, whether you are dealing with machine or equipment, or you may say that I don't deal with people. Behind that equipment, you are dealing with people. So you are dealing with people directly or indirectly. So you might as well deal it heads on, right? Like the temptation, deal it heads on. Learn the skill. It can be learned. You just learn one skill at a time. You just need to be 1% better than yesterday, and keep tuning in. We keep sharing about all the people skills hacks that we can share with you, that you can take away and then learn and apply very quickly, very easily as well, right? So we look forward to our sharing with you again. And if you have any questions, I mentioned before, you can just share with us, and we will answer as many questions as possible. Okay, right? I'll see you next time. Bye.